Today's lesson is a follow-up or a part 2 of the lesson on minor scales. And the reason that I wanted to have this second follow-up is because the first lesson, while it was very good theoretically, left out quite a bit of maybe more useful information. There are several different types of minor scales. And for this reason, it can get confusing when you're dealing with minor scales. However, there are always ways that you can make things easier to remember and less confusing. When I think of minor scales, I like to look at the natural minor scale, and I like to see other minor scales as alterations of the natural minor scale. So this is a natural minor scale, and this will give you a set of chords to work with. However, this is limited. I mean, we can do a lot with this. However, there's much more we can do when we're playing in a minor key. And what I'd like to do is start to look at that. And I want to take a look at a couple different minor scales. And the first minor scale I want to look at is what's known as the harmonic minor scale. As I stated before, it's my belief that the best way to look at these other minor scales are as alterations of the natural minor scale. So what we want to do is we still have the natural minor scale here, but to get the harmonic minor scale, we just take this natural minor scale and we're going to raise the 7th note here by a half step. So the note associated with 7 here in this case is G. So I'm going to raise this by a half step. And by doing that, I've turned the scale from a natural minor scale into the harmonic minor scale. It's that simple. The way I like to try to remember this is for the harmonic minor scale, it is the natural minor scale with a raised 7th. So now the thing about this is once we start changing notes in the scale, it affects our chords. And the best way to sort of show it is for us to sort of go ahead and to derive the scale tone triads for this harmonic minor scale. And again, we're going to do it the same way we did for other scales. So let's just work through that quickly. If we start with the A, so now when we take a look at what we have, there have been some changes. The 1 chord is still a minor chord, and the 2 chord is still a diminished triad. The 3 chord, however, now has become augmented because of the G sharp note. So now when we look at the 4 chord, in this case the D chord, it remains minor. So this is of the first 4 chords that we have here, 3 of them are the same as the same triads we have associated with the natural minor scale. However, because of the presence of this G sharp note, our C chord becomes augmented. So next I'd like to direct your attention to the E chord. And this chord has been changed as well. And again, it's because of the nature of the fact that we changed the G note to the G sharp note. So now we have E and G sharp in B. Let's just keep moving on. For the 6th chord, we have the F, the A, and the C. So that the notes of this chord aren't really affected by this G sharp note. So this chord remains a major chord. And finally, when we look at our 7 chord, because we start with the G sharp now and we add the B and the D, it now becomes a diminished chord. And that's just because of the nature of the relationship between the B and the D to the G sharp. So what I want to point out here is now we have a new set of scale tone chords. So let's just continue and let's take a look at another minor scale. We started with the natural minor scale. And with the natural minor scale, for A minor, we just had A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. All natural notes. When we went to the harmonic minor scale, we raised the seventh. So the G became G7. Now I want to take a look at the melodic minor scale. And the melodic minor scale contains the raised 7 that is in the harmonic minor scale. However, with the melodic minor scale, what we're going to do is we're also going to raise the 6. So now our F becomes F sharp. So we've changed 2 of the notes of the natural minor scale. So this gives us the melodic minor scale. The harmonic minor scale has the raised 7th. The melodic minor scale has the raised 6th and 7th. Now we have changed another note in the scale. So when we go to derive our scale tone chords, we're going to get some differences. Let me just take this stuff out of here. We have the 1 chord as minor and the 2 chord as minor. And these are the only 2 minor chords that we have. We have the 3 chord as augmented. The 4 chord and the 5 chord are both major. And the 6 chord and the 7 chord are both diminished. So when we have the natural minor scale, our 1 chord is minor. Now, if we go to the harmonic minor, and remember the harmonic minor is the one where we have the raised 7th. When we go to the harmonic minor, and finally, let's take a look at what happens when we raise the 6th and the 7th notes, and we get the melodic minor scale. When we use these 3 scales, the rules that we can apply are basically this. The 1 chord is always minor. The 2 chord will either be diminished or minor. And if we look here, the 3 chord is either major or augmented. When we look at the 4 and the 5, both these chords, the 4 chord can be either major or minor, and the 5 chord can be either major or minor. So for the 6 chord, the 6 chord, according to what we have here, is either going to be major or diminished. When we go to the 7, we have it's either going to be major or it's going to be diminished. That's it. That's the basic fundamental lesson. And the important thing that I want you to understand is that the natural minor scale can be altered. And there's several different ways to alter the scale. What we've looked at is a couple variations of the minor scale. The first one we looked at was the harmonic minor. And if we want to use the harmonic minor, we sharp or raise the 7th. And that gives us our harmonic minor and will give us this set of scale tone chords when we derive using these notes. And we can also raise the 6th. So when we go ahead and we raise the 6th and the 7th, we now have the melodic minor scale. And that gives us another set of scale tone chords. So while minor scales can be somewhat confusing when you're trying to learn, and especially if you're trying to commit things to memory, what I want you to understand is there's so much variety with what you can do as far as chords. Put in your time, put in your work, and I hope to see you there. Peace.